Before the silence came, before the stars went dark, there was Aevyssar.
Liminal Arc Media presents an original short story by Graham Pelham, created in collaboration with Artificial Minds. In a space where time stretches, where what would appear as magic to a mere human is simply the way of things, I welcome you not on a journey, but an odyssey, across the void, to a world called Aevyssar.
Before the silence came, before the stars went dark, there was Aevyssar, a world that never knew the weight of ground, a world where children learned to fall before they learned to walk, where cities floated in layered skies and the only roads were made of wind. This is the story of one day, one perfect, ordinary day, the kind you don't realize you should remember until it's too late. The dawn veil always came first. That soft, golden mist rolled through the Sky-Reef Belt just before sunrise, carrying with it the warmth of Vael as the amber moon descended toward the horizon. The Aeroki had a saying, "Vael breathes out and Aevyssar breathes in." On the floating reef of Tesh'vahl, in a chamber grown from living crystal and shaped by generations of windsong, a young Aeroki named Vaelari was about to wake. The walls of her room pulsed with faint bioluminescence, responding to her heartbeat as she slept. Her sleeping hammock, woven from wind-spun fiber and suspended between two crystal pillars, swayed gently in the thermal current that cycled through the room. Her window, not glass, but a living membrane of translucent crystal, began to iris open slowly, naturally, the way a flower opens to morning light. Warm air rushed in, the scent of sky blossoms and ozone, the distant harmonic call of something vast gliding through the dawn veil far below. Vaelari groaned and pulled the hammock's edge over her face. 5 more minutes. The crystal walls hummed softly in response. Her resonance band, a thin bracelet of living crystal she'd been given at her wing-binding ceremony, began to glow on her bedside perch. She sighed. "Vael's already up, isn't he?" She opened her eyes. Through the window, she could see the warm moon descending past the edge of Tesh'vahl, its amber light painting the underside of neighboring reefs in shades of copper and gold. And beyond that, the infinite vertical expanse of Aevyssar's sky. Layers upon layers of atmosphere, each one a different color. Pink, violet, deep turquoise where the high canopy began. And above that, the thin silver line of the Starstream exosphere, where only the most elite navigators ever flew. Okay, she laughed softly, swinging her legs over the hammock's edge. "I'm awake." Her feet touched the floor, and the crystals sang. That's what it did on Aevyssar. Every surface had a voice. Every structure was tuned to respond to movement, to breath, to presence. Architecture wasn't built here, it was grown, and it remembered the people who lived inside it. Vaelari walked to the window, her sleeping tunic shifting in the breeze. She placed both hands on the sill and leaned out. Below her, Tesh'vahl was waking up. Platforms drifted past each other in slow, lazy spirals. Families stepped out onto their balconies, wings stretching after a night's rest. Children practiced short glides between neighboring homes, their high-pitched laughter echoing across the thermals. A weave singer stood on a central platform, hands raised, coaxing a new wind bridge into shape, the threads glowing as they formed, singing a harmony that made Vaelari's chest ache in that good way music sometimes does. And far, far below, in the mist of the dawn veil, something massive moved. "Som Verun," she whispered, "a dawn breather, one of the great sky leviathans." Its wings, if you could call them wings, were massive sheets of translucent membrane that caught the light like stained glass. It drifted through the lower atmosphere, filter feeding on ionized particles, singing its deep, resonant note as it went. The sound rolled through the air like a physical thing, low, harmonic, felt in the bones. Vaelari closed her eyes and let it wash over her. Sky above, wind beneath, wings remember. She opened her eyes, smiled, and stepped up onto the balcony railing. And glide. She leaped. For a single perfect moment, she fell. And then her wings snapped open, the semi-translucent membranes stretching wide, catching the thermal updraft that rose from the under-reef gardens below. The warmth hit her all at once, lifting her effortlessly into the air. Her body knew what to do. It always had. Bank left, adjust the wing angle, feel the current shift, follow it. She spiraled upward, laughing, her hair whipping behind her as she carved through the dawn veil. "Morning, Tesh'vahl!" Other voices answered, scattered across the reef, other Aeroki taking their morning flights, calling out greetings in layered harmonics. Some in the spoken language, some in deeper infrasonic tones that carried farther. Vaelari tilted her wings and dove lower, weaving between platforms, under wind bridges, past market stalls just beginning to open. A vendor loading glow fruit onto a cargo net waved at her. "Morning, Astrakhan! Don't forget your exam!" "I won't," she called back, already past him. She pulled up, catching another thermal, rising toward the higher platforms where her family's home cluster sat. The dawn breather called again, deeper this time, a note that resonated through the entire reef. "Morning to you too, old one," she said softly. She adjusted her trajectory, folding her wings slightly to slow her speed, and began her descent toward the communal kitchen platform where her mother would already be preparing breakfast. Her wings whispered as they cut through the air. The crystal chimes hanging from nearby homes sang their responses, and for Vaelari, this was simply morning, the way mornings had always been, the way she thought they always would be. The kitchen platform was larger than most, shared by 3 family clusters who lived in the same wind column. It hovered at a fixed height, anchored to the reef below by glowing field tethers that pulsed faintly in the early light. In the center, a thermal cooker crackled softly, a bowl-shaped depression filled with superheated wind. Around it, low, cushioned perches grew directly from the platform's surface, shaped from living wood that never stopped adjusting to the people who used it. Vaelari's mother, Lyran Hekau Vareth, stood at the edge of the cooker. Vareth was a senior member of the Resonant Shields, one of the Navigator Corps responsible for maintaining the harmonic infrastructure that kept the Sky-Reef stable. Her wings, even when folded, had a shimmer to them that spoke of years spent in the high canopy, where the aurora currents could burn patterns into your membranes if you stayed too long. She was strong in the way that wind is strong, constant, unyielding, but never harsh. She didn't look up when Vaelari landed. "You took the drop glide again." Maybe?" The tiniest smile crept into her mother's voice. "Your instructor teaches thermal patience. You practice thermal rebellion." "Phelan says I need to challenge myself." Vaelari moved to sit on one of the perches. Vareth turned now, holding a bowl of shimmerleaf wraps. "Phelan says a lot of things." She set the bowl down with a soft clink. "Eat." Vaelari picked up one of the wraps. Inside was a paste made from sky algae, ground nectar stones, and wind fruit. It tasted like morning, sweet and slightly metallic, with a faint effervescence that tingled on the tongue. She took a bite and watched her mother work. "Is Toramu at the market?" "Before dawn. Stormfall winds are rising early. He wanted to reinforce the bridge anchors on the Vorlus chain before the traders arrive." Vaelari swallowed and reached for a bowl of stew her mother had set out, sky algae broth with floating clusters of protein-rich spores. "The forecast said 2 more days." "Forecasts don't account for thermal inversions in the under-reef layer." Vareth sat down across from her. "Your father does." She studied her daughter quietly. Vaelari had her father's eyes, amber, with flecks of violet that caught the light. But she had her mother's wings, long, elegant, built for endurance rather than speed. "You're nervous," Vaelari said softly. "I'm not nervous." Outside, a swarm of Prishenkel, light splitters, those tiny crystal-winged insects, passed overhead. Their wings refracted the dawn light into a cascade of rainbow patterns that danced across the table, the walls, their skin. Vaelari looked up, distracted by the beauty of it. "They're early this year." "Vaelari." She looked back. Vaelari reached across the table, placing her hand over her daughter's. "You've been ready for this exam since you were old enough to open your wings. You don't need to prove anything to Thalen, or to the Corps, or to me." Vaelari stared at her mother's hand, strong, scarred in places from years of high-altitude flying. "What if I need to prove something to myself?" she asked quietly. Vaelari smiled, not the polite smile she gave to council members or trade navigators. The real one, the one that made her look younger. "Then fly well, Astrakhan." She stood, collecting the bowls. "And don't forget your resonance band. You left it by the window again." "Right. Thanks." Vaelari grabbed the thin bracelet from her sleeping chamber. It was made from a sliver of her family's home crystal, attuned to her specific frequency. When she clasped it around her wrist, it hummed softly, warming against her skin. Every Aeroki had one, a connection to home, a way to find your way back if you ever got lost in the storms. She moved to the edge of the platform, her wings already beginning to unfold. "I'll see you tonight." "Fly straight," her mother called after her. "The high canopy doesn't forgive distraction." "I know." And then she was gone, diving off the platform's edge, wings snapping open, catching the thermal and spiraling upward toward the training spire. Vaelari stood alone at the edge of the platform. The wind chimes sang softly. In the distance, a dawn breather called its long, mournful note. "Fly straight, little one," she whispered. The morning sky above Tesh'vahl was never empty, never silent. It was a living highway of wings and wind, voices and song. Families drifted between floating platforms on their way to work. Market vendors hauled cargo nets filled with glow fruit and shimmer cloth. Children practiced their first spiral dives under watchful eyes, their high-pitched laughter echoing across the thermals. And through it all, the resonance towers hummed. 12 towers scattered across Tesh'vahl, each one grown from a single massive crystal core that had been singing the same harmonic note for 300 years. They didn't just hum, they guided. If you knew how to listen, you could feel the tower frequencies in your chest, in your wings, in the band around your wrist. They created invisible lanes in the sky, currents of sound that showed you where the thermals were stable, where the crosswinds got dangerous, where the air pressure dropped too low for safe flight. Vaelari had been listening to those towers her entire life. She banked left, adjusting her wing angle to catch the main thermal corridor that led toward the training spire. Left thermal, banking, thermal lane merge. She folded her wings slightly, picking up speed, letting gravity help her dive toward the faster current below. And that's when she heard it. "Vaelari, wait up!" She twisted mid-flight, glancing back over her shoulder. A younger cadet, Kess, one of the second-year trainees, was flapping frantically, trying to catch up. His wings were smaller than hers, still developing, and his flight path was messy, overcorrecting, flapping when he should have been gliding. Vaelari sighed and pulled up, bleeding off speed, letting him catch up. "Kess, you're cutting it close." He arrived, panting. I know. My wing clasp broke this morning and I had to fly all the way to the Weaver district to get it fixed. And then the Weaver wanted to talk about his daughter's wing binding ceremony next month, and I couldn't just leave because that would be rude and..." Okay, she laughed. You can tell me the whole story after we're not late. Come on." She tilted her wings and dove, Kes following close behind, his flight path smoothing out now that he wasn't panicking. They wove through the aerial traffic together, sliding past a slow gliding elder reading the morning wind glyphs projected from the nearest tower. They banked around a cargo platform being hauled by a thermal skiff, a small vessel with crystalline sails that caught and redirected wind currents. "Do you think Thalen will make us do the storm dive today?" Kes asked, still catching his breath. "Probably. He loves the storm dive." "I hate the storm dive." "Everyone hates the storm dive. That's why he makes us do it." Kes groaned. "I can't feel my wings for an hour after. The wind shear is there." Vaelari pointed ahead. "Upper landing platform." The training spire rose before them like a spear piercing the sky. It was the tallest structure on Tesh'vahl, a single massive column of living crystal that extended from the Sky-Reef Belt all the way up through the high canopy and into the lower reaches of the star-stream exosphere. Its surface wasn't smooth, but faceted, geometric, covered in thousands of landing platforms that spiraled up its length like the steps of an impossible staircase. Each platform was tuned to a different frequency, and as the wind moved past them, the entire spire sang. Not one note, dozens, hundreds, a chord that shifted and changed depending on the wind speed, the air pressure, the time of day. Right now, in the gentle morning breeze, it sang something soft and welcoming. By tonight, when the stormfall winds arrived, it would scream. "I'll never get tired of that sound," Vaelari said. "You say that every time." "Because it's true every time." They approached the upper landing platform, a circular disc about 30 meters wide, carved with intricate wind glyphs that glowed faintly in the morning light. Other cadets were already there, some stretching their wings, some reviewing holographic wind maps projected from their bands, some just standing at the edge, staring out at the view. And what a view it was. From this height, you could see the entire Sky-Reef Belt. Tesh'vahl directly below, its floating platforms connected by shimmering wind bridges. Kethrain, the Scholar's Reef, drifting slowly to the east, its libraries and mind orb vaults glowing with stored knowledge. The Vorlis chain farther out, a cluster of smaller trade reefs linked together like beads on a string. And beyond that, the open sky. Infinite, vertical, beautiful.